All right, well, let's jump into NFL Week 9. We're going to do it a little bit different this week.
It's a little different.
We're just going to talk about games and things like we normally do, but we're going to kind of put it in the framework of good, bad, and ugly from the weekend. Yep. Probably bounce around. Who knows what's happening. But I wanted to kick us off first with Max Crosby.
Oh.
The guy coming in with 3 sacks, killing it, and then also donating $1 million to Eastern Michigan. I was guess the week before, but like what a start.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either.
Just for their like athletic program?
Yeah.
Or?
So I think they're actually naming the field Crosby Field now, which is gonna be sick.
Sweet.
They should.
Yeah. Because his wife also went there and played, I think, soccer or something like that too. But yeah, so he
had EMU, Eastern Michigan University.
Yep. EMU.
Nice.
EMU. But he had 3 sacks against the Giants. I think he's up to 9.5 on the season. But he's just a dog, and he's holding down the Raiders defense. Get Josh McDaniels out there. That's the other piece. It's like the Raiders, they get rid of Josh McDaniels, and then they get Antonio Pierce, and it just looks like the Raiders are having fun.
Yes, and they just destroyed the Giants.
Destroyed.
I mean, like, destroyed the Giants. And Daniel Jones probably out for the rest of the year.
I mean, that was the perfect time to face the Giants, or to fire your coach, and you needed an uplifting story. You have the Giants that week.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing pretty well.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's hard to know what all is true and what's not true, obviously, that you're hearing from it. But it just seemed like the players could not stand Josh McDaniels. And, like, first of all, they all wanted to hire Bisaccia when he, like, took over, I guess that was 2 years ago. And then they made a playoff run at the end. Obviously, they decided not to do that. And then apparently, I think they just couldn't stand the way that he ran stuff and would overcorrect everything. So I don't know. This kind of gets me fired up whenever an interim.
Well, I'm still shocked about that game because the Raiders, I mean, are in a big transition mode, and the Giants, they're not great, but they're not like the Panthers bad. So anyway,
another team that had a great interim and decided to move on to a different coach.
Yep, they won 7 of 8 with Steve Wilkes. 7 of 8 to finish the season. 7 of 8.
So that's when Joe switched teams.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was before that. It was before. No, I switched before.
Well, no,
I know you don't like Tepper, but
you
still.
like both of them.
Yeah.
But now it's more the 49ers than it is the...
I know. My new mission, I want to get Deebo Samuel to endorse me as a 49ers fan so I can officially not be a bandwagon fan.
Oh,
that's the goal.
Yeah.
My classmate.
What are you just gonna
my good friend and classmate.
How are you doing that?
I'm going to start tweeting at him every day.
Paying $50 on
Thread
Cameo.
the line between stalker and dedicated.
Well, there's something beautiful about persistence.
Yeah. As long as it's done in the right way.
So we got to talk about the great first, right?
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud. We have to talk about the
470 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks.
I mean, that was the best game by a rookie QB ever.
He had a 147.8 passer rating.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
I didn't have that in my Madden, like my franchise sometimes.
Yeah.
Leading the drive.
Yeah, that's solid, man. And I mean, for them to get the win too, I mean, is CJ Stroud that much better, we think, than Bryce Young? Or you think it's just the more the system and the situation?
I mean, it's really hard to tell. I think situation
Let's make some early speculations, though.
Well, early speculation, CJ Stroud is the best quarterback to come out of Ohio State because Joe Burrow does not count as an Ohio State quarterback.
Agreed.
That's fair. That's fair enough. Yeah,
so I will already say that CJ Stroud's the best quarterback to come out of Ohio State. That's one. 2, I think that I like D'Amico Ryan. He's a great coach.
Yeah.
I think that the Texans have had top 10 picks for the last 50 years. They finally got rid of Deshaun Watson a while ago.
And the Browns
very smart for them.
Money.
We're pausing. Chris is a Cleveland Brown fan.
Yeah.
Just got to ask you, how do you juggle having a conscience and a moral compass while also being a Browns fan? Just wanted to get that out there.
You know, I'm a strong believer in second chances.
What about 22 second chances?
Excuse me. I think Deshaun is on 32. Okay, so let's get the right number.
Yikes.
Yeah, you know, it's a little tough.
Is it time to cut and move on?
He had a pretty good week last week.
He did have a good week.
If it's just about football, the answer is no. I mean, he was off for what, 2 years, and he's still kind of getting back into a rhythm. So I give him a little bit of slack on that, but I was not a huge fan of mortgaging the future on him. Anyways, like I think he's a talented player, but
but not
So
like
many question
240
marks.
million guaranteed when you didn't know anything kind of good player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Checks out.
Okay,
What? I mean, some organizations, it's just their ownership and leadership, man, will not let them win football games.
It's true. And there's so many good quarterbacks you can go after. Like even in the second round. Like
Yeah.
the past couple of years, there've been really good second round quarterbacks.
Will Levis has had a good start.
I'm not a huge fan of him, but it's hard to deny what he's done so far.
Well, he's-
I mean,
Were you just not a big fan of Kentucky him or the 2 weeks with the Titans, or what are you not a fan of?
Kentucky him. Yeah. He just threw so many interceptions. And I mean, you can still see it. He's so confident that like it's going to rock
he
him
almost
1 week.
got burned
But
a couple times by the Steelers.
Yeah.
Like there was one throw that he threw it out, I want to say like to the flats, and it was nearly a pick six.
Yeah.
Like he got away with it, but you do that twice and that's 6 points the next time.
yeah.
Which
Bryce Young did twice.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Because we were playing, I was playing Christian in fantasy. Congrats on the win, by the way. And
Big win. Come on. Big win for me.
you
this
had
week.
Adam Thielen and I had Jonathan Taylor. And I was like, did you bribe Bryce Young to just keep Jonathan Taylor off the field and Thielen on?
So, I mean, by far, his leading wide receiver was that cornerback. Forgot his name. But for the Indianapolis Colts, he had 2 receptions for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their cornerback.
Yeah, not great.
Not great. Other thing I did want to say, though, on the Texans-Bucks game is the running back coming in, kicking a field goal.
This was the great. Yeah, this is the great right here. I mean, are you kidding me?
You just love that.
There's
Nails
my favorite's Baker Mayfield's reaction if they show it. That's hilarious.
And then D'Amico Ryan, when he's like, hold on, and then he flashes them
But
pearly
Baker,
whites.
oh, it didn't show Baker. Baker Mayfield goes. You're like, all right,
Tough look for kickers, though.
tough. I was about to say,
Yeah.
that's a really tough look. Because what was that, 30 yards?
I think it was
29.
20.
Yeah, it was about that.
If
Yeah.
you ever miss a 30-yard field goal again,
That was from the hash,
Replaced
right?
by the running back.
Yeah, it's from
I
the
think.
left hash coming in, too.
holy
I can't remember
smokes.
where I heard this, but someone was saying it changes kickoffs a little bit. If you get someone that's got like a leg that can just boot it, what if you get like a safety? And then you've got 11 men. You just got literally you have a safety back there to keep any like all the way returns from happening essentially in the future. Like if you can just find one that can kick it far and straight.
Yeah, but then if someone gets hurt, you're down a kicker and a safety. You still have to have a backup kicker on the roster,
That's true.
and you don't have to have a backup kicker for a normal kicker, right?
yeah. It's a good point.
Unless you're going to have like 7 running backs who can absolutely boot the ball.
Yeah,
Or
that might-
receivers. It doesn't have to be a running back.
I know. I'm hyping this guy up still.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was fun though.
that was
What a
fun.
weird score.
I was like, no way he makes it, and he drilled it. That was good from 36. I mean, let's be
At
honest.
least.
Anything else y'all had on this game?
On the Texans game?
Texans
No,
Bucks
just CJ Stroud. It pisses me off, but keep going.
Well, because I wanted to go to the Vikings Falcons because we've got to shout out
yeah.
Josh Dobbs
It's a great.
because coming over, didn't even know most of the receivers' names.
No, didn't
obviously
know their
didn't know the
names.
plays. They're getting O'Connell's like telling him what to look for in every play. And then comes in, gets the safety, then fumble that's almost a touchdown, and then starts coming back. And I threw up here on the screen his 4th down run
Oh, yeah.
because that was big time.
Oh.
Because like it'll show a replay right here. I mean,
Oh,
look
that
at
was
that.
huge. That was huge.
Evades the sack and then goes from there. But this is another one of those stupid stats, but it's also just a cool fun fact. He had 3 touchdowns in back-to-back weeks for 2 different teams. So of course,
Oh,
it's like
wow.
no one else has done that.
Right,
Yes,
right.
but he did 3 touchdowns.
And no one
back-to-back.
else has ever worn the number 9, had 3 picks, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles.
while throwing exactly 231 yards.
Unbelievable. Somebody shared a tweet with me, and so I don't know if it's true, but it was on the internet, so it probably is.
That's how you know it's true.
Fair
He did
enough.
not have a full practice with the Vikings before this game, or at least with all of the players healthy.
I thought that's what I heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like he came in and like legitimately balled out when he had not been with them yet.
Like
which,
afterwards, he was saying he legitimately didn't know everyone's name.
Correct.
yeah, like
And keep in mind, he was also their leading rusher. Really good.
true.
Yeah, because he
Wow, talk about
had
taking over.
He was 20 for 30, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 carries, 66 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Like you're
Shout
not
out Josh
one.
Dobbs.
You're getting traded, coming over here. You're not even expected to play in this game because there's another backup in.
You think he starts next week? Yeah.
It has
Yeah,
to.
Has
Scott.
to.
I mean, I don't even know
No.
if the other guy's gonna be back. like potentially even able to play.
I don't care if they have Aaron Rodgers. You're starting Josh Dobbs next week.
Yeah.
Do you all think that he has potentially won himself a starting gig next year on a team, a starting gig?
So that's what Baker Mayfield did. Baker Mayfield literally
Like
went
when
to
he
the
went
Rams.
to Rams?
He went to the Rams, had that crazy comeback, the 1 minute drill comeback, won the game for the Rams, and won himself a starting job.
Because he was
next
pretty
season.
frisky with Arizona, which was designed for Kyler Murray. Obviously, they're not like drastically different players, but still, it wasn't an offense designed for him.
Right.
Like he's showing that he can plug and play.
I was pretty surprised the Cardinals traded him first.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Like, he was doing pretty well. And then maybe he stays on with the Vikings, right? Kirk's contract's out, coming off an injury. Like, I really doubt Kirk is back there.
Yeah. You know,
But
Like-
it seems like he wants to. He's already played like the free market, if you will.
Kirk.
Gotten paid. And now it seems like he might want to stay.
How old's Kirk Cousins these days? 33?
Probably, that sounds
Yeah,
right.
33, 34, I think.
Yeah. Tore his Achilles. But quarterbacks, once again, but also Kurt takes a beating. I mean,
Yeah, he gets.
My guy
he gets
takes
pretty
a-
He's
beat up.
35.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's going to come back at 36 years old after a torn. I mean, he could. But
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to come back
In season.
5 months in season.
I don't know, man.
At what, 40? However old he
I
is?
don't know, but there's like special talents. Now, Kirk Cousins is a top 3 QB, so
I know.
maybe he will since 2018.
It was kind of sick though, watching him cheer on Dobbs from like his couch and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he was just fired up for him.
Oh, heck yeah.
Good dude.
Good
I
for
feel like
Dobbs.
both of them are just good people. So
That
that's
was a
pretty
big
sweet.
win for the Vikings
That was a big win.
because now they're 5-4,
Mm-hmm.
and so like they legit have a chance at a wild card spot.
Yeah.
Do either of y'all have one? You want to toss that now? Good, bad, or ugly?
I got a few. You got
a few?
anything?
We will very much touch on it later. The Ravens look so bad, yet so dominant, and
Yeah.
it's wildly confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how it's going to be sustainable, but I mean, they're just blowing people out right now.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
And see how we had Joe talking about the other week. Like, yeah, sometimes NFL teams when they get down, 14-0 or 21-0, it's like they don't like cash it in, but it's like, sometimes they just get blown. I still think the Seahawks are a good football team, but yeah, you're exactly right. It's the Ravens a couple times, 3 times this season, I think, have just gotten up like 21-0, bang, and then it's like, well, the game's kind of over, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But yeah, I mean, all the teams, Eagles, best record,
yep.
they kind of look a little bit like that. Like they're just escaping with wins each time. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. They just keep winning. But I mean, they lose to the Broncos like
Most of the time.
most of the time.
Yeah.
The 49ers obviously looked really good and they went on the 3-game skid. It's like no team really looks.
Yeah. It feels like it really
Yeah.
could be anybody's year. At
It's
least to
making the
me.
power rankings really tough the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting when we get into
I don't
that.
know, man. As my second favorite team behind the Panthers, Eagles guy. I mean, like you can knock whatever you want about the Eagles. They are finding a way to win, and they've beat some pretty good teams as well. It's not like
I'm
they're
excited
just,
to watch them play the Chiefs.
I am
Big
too.
one.
That'll be a good game. But everyone else is like, yeah, they.
It also
close
helps when
game.
you don't, get any penalties in a game.
Right. Well, Joe will be talking that till he's 68 years old.
But hey, it wasn't competitive when they were tied, so it's all good.
It actually wasn't that competitive after third quarter or after second quarter.
This is gonna get all of us fired up.
Oh no.
Love it.
I'm gonna put this in
Oh no.
the ugly category.
Okay.
The intentional grounding called on Josh Allen.
I saw it.
Got
That was
here on
so
the screen.
Stupid. Gosh, that was look at that. Are you?
I mean, yes, the pocket is starting to collapse, but he's clearly throwing it. It's an option route to Gabe Davis. He throws it way before Gabe Davis cuts. The
Yeah.
worst part is old Chrissy, the commentator.
Oh,
Chris,
yeah.
since you know his name.
Topher.
He's like, come on, like this is ridiculous. Like I understand. And then it wasn't Dan Blandino. It was the
no,
other one.
it was one of those
Sterator?
No, Terry, what's his name? Anyway, one of the rules analysts comes on and
Yeah.
is like, well, as you can see, went over his head or didn't go over the receiver's head. So that's an intentional grounding. It's like, how in any way, shape, or form is this the spirit of an intentional grounding penalty?
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty.
He
pretty
clearly
simple.
throws it. It's a miscommunication.
So here's
yes,
my
it's a
thing.
long field goal, but
Here's
it's out of
my
field goal
thing.
range.
This is less of an intentional grounding call than when a quarterback throws it 30 yards above a receiver's head out of bounds.
Yeah.
This is less of an intentional grounding call.
No doubt.
Like, if you're going to say, like, Josh Allen in that same spot can throw it 35 yards above his head out of bounds, and everyone say, okay. But that's intentional grounding?
I mean,
Like, well,
the biggest argument against this is he throws it and he's never touched by a defensive player.
right.
Like, they get 2 steps to do it.
Yeah.
So if that's not happening, clearly he's not throwing it away in distress. Like, that's frustrating to me. And then if you make the argument that that's the way that the rule's set up, then
Pretty poorly written rule.
a poorly written rule.
Yeah.
Gosh, the whole quarterback thing is just, last couple of years has been pissing me off.
Well, the other one I have is, again, roughing the passer calls.
It's so stupid.
Because we've got this one in the Pats
I saw this.
Commanders game.
How?
Yeah.
So this
What,
one, it's the
the
rule.
weight?
It's the full weight.
That
Again,
wasn't even the full weight.
It wasn't even the full weight.
It wasn't. So I understand the rule of the full weight. Like, you don't want a 300-pound dude jumping up, landing straight on a quarterback and laying there. Like, yes, we get that. This angle doesn't even do it justice, but he's coming around the edge. You get one shot at the quarterback.
Yeah.
He like slides and rolls off of him. So instead of it being, I think that was on 3rd down. So instead of 4th down out of field goal range, you get a 1st down
And
at like the
15
20-yard line
yards.
at that point. And then you just get to keep rolling. And like, then I understand that they make a lot of money, but they're fined $15,000, $30,000 for that hit. It's just, I don't know.
It's wrong.
And then again, it's like, I feel like it's the way that the rule's written is a problem. Because it's like, I guess kind of he lands on him.
Yeah. I mean,
But,
even the announcers were like, no, this one's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, even like when the announcers and the rules official are like, well, you can see why they called it. It's like, then they shouldn't have called
But you
it.
should, because
Like,
you shouldn't be looking for a reason to make the call. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, well, I can justify why that call was made. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the spirit of the rules.
like, as a basketball official, they say you just call the obvious.
Right.
If everyone in the stands can't see why you called that, you probably shouldn't be calling it.
I like that.
So why is it not the same for the NFL? Why is it not the same for other sports?
Yeah, you're like
I get
trying
it.
to catch a technicality.
Yeah.
Your job is to see what other people don't. So like, I get that it's not always going to be like if everyone sees it, right? But come on.
That's just, it's so difficult for a defensive player now.
It's so difficult.
Like, how do you have like an all-in, almost like warlike mentality trying to like bull rush or get
And then
around
you
a
gotta
tackle?
like touch his pinky.
And then, right, you got to come in, but you need to sack him
And you
before you
can't
get away
go
with
low,
it.
and you
But
can't
need
go
to,
high.
but you can't throw him around, but you got to come from the slide without ever slamming him. Like,
yeah.
Quarterbacks are going to eventually get flags, and you got to pull their flag unless they're past the line of scrimmage. And
Yeah.
like,
I
I would
they're-
almost rather
they're-
that.
They're
at this
going to
point.
make something crazy happen because they're like, no, you can't hit them like that.
And I get where the NFL's come from with roughing the passer because it's like the quarterback a lot of times helps with the ticket sales. They help with the franchise. And so, of course, the worst thing a franchise can have to a franchise is Kirk Cousins going down, Aaron Rodgers going down. And I get it. But yeah, now I might as well just give him flags and just hold the flag. And then there it is. There's a sack right there.
The other one that's really frustrating to me, thinking about it from a defensive player mindset, is when someone is running along the sideline and they choose to get 3 more extra yards. And then so you've got to hit them, otherwise they're about to get a first down. But then they take like
Then
one
it's a
step out of
personal
bounds, and then it's a
foul.
personal foul. And it's like, how do you defend that if they're not giving themselves up, and then they wait until they're about to get hit, and then they give themselves up? That just feels like an impossible situation.
The one that kills me, it's more in college than pro, is either targeting or unnecessary roughness with the crown of the helmet.
Oh, yeah.
Because so many times the offensive player lowers their helmet. I saw it a lot with Trevion Henderson in the Ohio State game this past week. Like, he just was smacking people with the crown of his helmet as a running back. Didn't think about anything. Somebody came up later, hit him, and they're like immediate targeting. It's like, hold on. Don't talk about player safety, but only call it on defensive players, right? And that feels like what's happening here.
In the South Carolina Texas A&M game, there was South Carolina was on defense. A&M was reversing the field, and so the defensive player was like flat-footed. Offensive player was dropping his helmet, got lower, and so his like head bent down a little bit more, and so he like tackled around him, never left his feet or anything, wasn't like spearing with his head. play ends. About 30 seconds later, I see like an official review. I'm like, what's happening? And then they review it and call it a targeting. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
it's so
Yeah.
stupid.
So like, I'm all for player safety, of course, but
it's all player safety.
but all player safety.
Right.
Yeah. And so like defensive players are going to start getting hurt because they're going to have to avoid. You can't go low. You can't go high. You can't hit them on the back. You can't land on them. Like,
Right,
they're
that's
going to
what I'm
start
saying. It's like-
contorting in a way where I think you're going to see something crazy, and the NFL is going to be like, well, I'd rather that happen than quarterbacks. It's like,
Yeah.
come on.
Dumb example, but like in high school, our running back was by far our best player. And so like whenever I was like rotating on scout at like linebacker or something, the coaches would get mad if you like didn't kind of get up close to him like you're about to tackle him, but you couldn't hit him. And sometimes he would just be like in a bad mood and want to lower his shoulder into you. And so you couldn't do anything. You just had to like get there, stand, and wait for him to hit you. And that's what this kind of stuff is turning into.
Yeah, 100%. That's funny.
Where it's like so, and then it like hurts. It sucks. You're gonna get hurt from it, but like you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Well,
So that one was tough. A positive though, did y'all see the down punt that the Saints had? So I've watched a lot of, especially in college, just lack of awareness, and so this one got me fired up. It was a great punt.
McAfee fired up too.
It was a great punt.
Oh, wow.
Just a beautiful diving stop on the goal line, spikes it down at the 1.5 yard line, rolling out of bounds.
That's beautiful. Gosh, it's nice talking about the Saints for once. The NFC South just sucks again. I mean, they just suck again.
Another one that was beautiful was Keenan Allen's reception that put him over 10,000 receiving yards.
That was a great reception.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Here you go. Do you want to see
Oh,
it?
he like turned around. It was,
I don't know how he caught that, but that was incredibly beautiful catch.
Yeah.
And then the fact that was what took him over 10,000 yards on his career too, that was pretty sick.
Yeah. I think the last good I want to talk about real quick is the Bengals. I mean, just Joe Burrow in total.
Dude,
Like,
they look bad.
So
There's some bad dudes out there.
the reason I left them off the top 10 was because I really thought they were going to lose the Bills. I thought the Bills weren't playing well the last couple weeks, so we're going to turn around against the Bengals.
Yet you made that one of your picks?
Bengals, yeah. I'm hedging all over the place here.
You're a wild man.
No, I picked the Bills to cover.
No, you picked the Bengals. You won.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my rationale for moving the
That's what I'm
Bengals off.
talking
But
about.
also, I thought I was going to put it in one of my picks.
No, but I really, I didn't feel confident about that. But anyway, Joe Burrow coming out. Finally looks like Joe Burrow. Their offense is clicking. Defense is looking pretty good too. Bengals have so many things to figure out at this point. I mean, like
Bills?
they've lost. The Bills have so many things. They've lost 3 straight, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, they're fringe not being a playoff team.
Correct. And it's like, well, it's like the whole. Yeah, I mean, is Josh Allen the most overrated top 5 QB? You know.
I love how you're making this an actual argument.
something to talk about.
Yeah, but like, do you think that he's actually 4 or actually 5 or like he's super overrated?
He's an
He might be one
overrated.
position
He's an overrated 4.
Who said he's 4? It's a hot take that everyone thinks that he's overrated.
Yeah.
And you're just saying, no, I think he might be 4 or 5.
He's
and you're
an
trying to make that controversial.
he's an overrated top 5 QB.
I mean, if we're throwing out hot takes,
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is an overrated top 5 QB.
Oh, wow.
Not a huge fan.
I like him more than Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, that's also so here.
They're actually very similar if I'm being unbiased.
Yeah, they're pretty similar.
Unbiased.
I think I agree with you. I think what you said a couple weeks ago, where it's like a lot of these guys, they're going to probably be top 10 no matter what. Like, right? Like Herbert, Lawrence, like, yeah, they might not be top 5, but they're going to be top 10. Probably pretty much no matter what. But depending on the year, the offense, the scheme, and the team, they could push into a top 5, right?
Or they could push into like a 12-13 1 season. They're still like a top 10 quarterback in the league. You know what I mean? Like even if they have 1 season that's out.
But I will say, and you probably hate me saying this, but I gained so much respect for Trevor Lawrence after he throws 4 picks in a playoff game and they come from behind and win. I mean, the gall on the kid.
Yeah, what drives me crazy are the people that are like, man, he just really led them to that game's victories. Like he also was the sole reason that needed to happen. So he just net 0. He averaged himself out in that game.
But that you know,
no, it was it is easy to roll over at that point, and yes, there's the
Correct.
gall to come back there. But don't act like he's the reason they won the game because he was almost the reason they lost it. He just balanced himself out. Like if he had just protected the ball, they would have been in good shape.
Yeah.
Other thing though, since we were talking about bets a second ago, a good that I had was the Commanders-Pats game because we had the under, or I had the under and you had faded it. And then there was that roughing the passer that led to points and a couple things. I'm like, it's done. And then they go scoreless in the fourth. What a beautiful thing to happen. And then the last thing, the Chiefs-Dolphins game.
I got unlucky. Couple
Unlucky.
times.
Chiefs-Dolphins, obviously bad for the Dolphins.
Oh, I'm about to get fired up.
You kept
I'm about to
saying
get fired up.
You kept saying that they haven't beaten a good team.
Yep.
And I was like, I was holding off judgment on it. I'm like, the first game, I'm not reading too much on the Bills. And then the Dolphins game, or Dolphins-Eagles, was weird.
Mm-hmm.
This was the third one. At this point, it's a trend that they need to fix, improve that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a bad. But one of the uglies that I had under that was a crucial 4th and 10 with a bad snap that Tua fumbles and then just jumps on it. He just falls on the ground on it. It's like, try to do something at that point. It makes no difference
Just
if
reflex.
they scoop and score.
Yeah, he just fall on the ground.
But I mean, all in all, like a big 4th and 10 to just botch it like that, that's tough.
Yeah, I guarantee he fumbled and just reflexes just.
For sure.
It's
just
he just like. But anyway,
that's lack of situational.
What I will say to end this segment is Christian's right so far. Dolphins, I mean, everyone's hyping them up. You put them at 2 weeks ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were like, Dolphins could be 1 in the power rankings. And yet, I think at that point, they were 5-1, which I get, good start. But they also haven't played one team that was arguably a top 12 to top 15 NFL team. Like, they've had a very weak schedule to start. And yeah, they blew a couple teams out, and they have a lot of fast players. But like, dude, you can't blow teams out that have good defenses and good coaches. You can't blow them out.
Yeah, I wasn't buying into that yet at that point because it's like one game as a sample size isn't enough for that. Like, everyone in the NFL is a good team. Like, everyone can beat anyone. And so that's why I was like, I'm not using the fact that they had a weaker schedule as a whole because they had blown out teams in that. And that's hard to do. You're saying, like, it is hard to blow out good teams. It happens sometimes. Like, the Cowboys are a good team. And the
Seahawks.
Cardinals blew them out.
Yeah.
Also the 49ers, but like the Cardinals obviously aren't a good team. So like it does happen that way. Anyway, Tyreek Hill's strip fumble that was like, I guess, stripped and then a lateral for a touchdown. That was tough.
Yeah.
That 14-point swing. Because
beautiful play.
It was a beautiful play.
Honestly, the Germany game, and those are tough, but the Dolphins defense didn't look that bad.
I thought they looked really good, to be honest.
Yeah. For a lot of the episodes, that's been your argument against them. It's like their offense is pretty good, but like their defense can't stop anyone that's good.
They also haven't proved anything, in my opinion, right? Like, besides having a very fast offense and scoring a lot of points in certain situations. They just haven't in the last few years. And once again, it's a newer offense. They just got Tyreek Hill a couple years ago. Tua came into fruition a couple years ago. So, and I like Mike McDaniels as a coach. Like, he's a funny guy and seems to be a good dude. But
he is fun to watch.
But all in all, it's like, and that's why I was not giving into any of the temptation with the Dolphins, because it was like, until they prove something, I can't put them top 5. And then they still haven't proven anything yet. So
now at this point, because now I agree that not that they hadn't proved it, they've gone 0-3 on their chances. Now they need to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I was just waiting for them. Like, if they would have beat the Chiefs there, we'd be having a different conversation, I think.
I agree.
But you can argue that play that we're talking about that was beautiful, like wonderful, right? Did Tyreek Hill actually possess it long enough for it to be called a fumble?
That could be the game.
That changed the whole game.
It did, yeah.
And they didn't even really talk about it. But I mean, like, he immediately was hit, didn't make any sort of move.
Yeah.
And it was ripped out within a half step backwards.
That's a good point.
So I was surprised they did not talk more about how that almost was incomplete, and that would have changed the entire game.
Yeah.
That is a really good point, too.
That is, because a lot of times when people catch it, like wide receivers, they have to have 40 steps sometimes before they like control it. And so
they always say you have to make a football move. I mean, he definitely did not make a football move.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I'm not saying that it was the wrong call, but I am saying
it was a close call.
I think it was a lot closer than the announcers gave it credit for. And without that play,
I like that.
I think the Dolphins win.
All right. That's a good point. Should we hit the power rankings now?
I like it.